the record, John.
John Brabant for the tape, Vermonters for a Clean Environment. And I did bring up earlier at the first meeting that there's a need to review the process to do with enforcement and of the terms of certificates of public good, and then the other directives issued by the Public Service Board, that it's ungainly at best. It consumes huge resources on both sides of the table, as it were, and it's not responsive to the extent that there's a real emergency situation. I guess they could be more responsive, but generally it's not a responsive process. In fact, I think it's actually broken, and you might want to have a larger conversation. And when enforcement of a simple condition of a certificate of public good takes years, something that is really obvious, whether you agree it's a violation or not, you can have that discussion. It should not take 2 years. That's one. Number two, that you need, the process needs to at least, I know there's a aversion to looking at 250, but we can learn from 250. If you're not going to shift the land use aspects to the 250 commission, which I think actually makes sense, because we have people that are skilled in that, and they don't have to deal with the actual public good part, but they can deal with the siting part, the Queechy analysis, for instance. But to the extent you're not going to do that, at least borrow from them how they deal with this, and how the Public Service Board has a bifurcated responsibility, and they're both quasi-judicial body, but when it comes time to enforce their already adjudicated decisions, that they then have the ability, and the department commissioner, Mr. Recchia, would be the deputy, is deputized to doing the enforcement, and would have resources to do that. That's one. Number two, and please don't take offense, but I feel like the process so far, and it's no one's fault, is right now proceeding in a bass-backwards mode. As a scientist, I understand you first have a problem statement, and then you look to solutions. And to me, it seems that the public, all the public that are involved with the Public Service Board process, should have been brought in at probably this meeting. And we want to hear what your lists of concerns are. And then what you would then be doing at the next meeting is distilling out, categories of problem areas, and then addressing them. But have it at the nearer the back end, which seems to be what's been the setup. And maybe it's too late now, but it seems that you're putting the problem statement at the end, and you're going to hear likely things that you didn't anticipate. Kind of like the commissioner said, they withhold judgment on an application until they've heard from everyone. I really feel like this process needs to do exactly what Commissioner Recchia does in running his department's engagement at the Public Service Board, that we need to hear from the citizenry, figure out what the problem areas are, and then figure out what the redress would be for each of those problem areas. I'll get off my. If people involved in process feel like they've been treated fairly by the process and they lose, it's been my every experience, and I was a regulator for 25 years, that they will say, the process was fair. I was treated fairly, I lost. It's like a soccer game. If the refs are paid off, we're not going to be happy with that outcome. But if people were treated fairly, at the end of the day, they will say, I was treated fairly, my argument did not resonate for whatever reason.
Can I ask you to take that analogy away? Because I don't think anyone's paid off.
No, I'm saying fairness of process. People.
Acknowledge that you said it.
Oh, no, golly. That was not meant. I'm sorry, Senator.
I know it wasn't meant, but
Yeah.
if we talk about having old wine in new bottles, then
Yeah.
let's talk about growlers and
But people need to come away feeling that the process is fair, and for whatever reason, they're not feeling that. And that's why we're here, right? Yeah.
No, I mean,
That's why you're here.
The level of frustration and concern is just, it's out there.